Hello everyone, today let's solve the problem number 585, investments on 2016. So what the question states here, we have to write the SQL query to report the sum of TIV 2016. Here you can clearly see we have the insurance table, right? So here we have to write the SQL query to report the sum of all the TIV underscore 2016 values for the policy holders who have the same TIV 2015. So we have the same TIB 2015 value as one or more other policy holders. So this is the first one. Second one, here values for the policy holders who are not located in the same city. So they should not be located in the same city, right? So who are not located in the same city as any other placeholder, that is nothing but the latitude or longitude pairs are unique right here in this case. So round the sum to 2 decimal places they have asked. So round the sum to 2 decimal places they have asked. So this is the question. I hope the question is completely clear. So here in this case we have been given the column name which consists of PID, TIB 2015-2016, latitude and longitude, LAT and LON, right? So PID is of the type integer and all other four things, TIB 2015-2016, latitude and longitude is of the type float, right? So here they have mentioned, you can just go through this one. PID is of the primary key column with unique values for the table. PID is a placeholders policy ID. Here in this case latitude, LAT is latitude of the placeholder city and LON is the longitude of the policy holders city, right? Sorry, this is not the placeholder, policy holder city, right? So here now we know what we need to do. Let's discuss the first example. Let's discuss the first example and then let's move on with the approach and then write the query right here. So just give me a second here in this case. So let's discuss the first example that they have given in the question, right? So we have PID TIV 2015-2016 as well as latitude and longitude of the policyholder, right? Here in this case TIV 2015 equals 10 as repeated. TIV 2015 equals 10 is repeated. This one I am speaking of on this table. So 10 is repeated thrice. 10 PID TIB 2015 equals 10 is repeated thrice. You can clearly see this column in the table, insurance table, right? So TIB underscore 2015 equals 10 is repeated. So PID 134 qualify the first condition. So this one I am speaking 1, this one 10, this one is repeated 3 and 4. So this is this qualifies the condition. PID 134 qualifies the condition accordingly with the question, right? So we have discussed the question. We have discussed the question already. So if you want to repeat me the same thing here, so we have to write the SQL query to report the sum of all the TIB 2016 values for policyholders who have the same TIB 2015 value as one or more other policyholders. This was the first one, and where they are not located in the same city as any other policy holder, right? So that's what the question states. The first one states basically policy holders who have the same TIB 2015 value as one or more other policy holders, right? So in this case we have 1, 3 and 4 with the same value 10, 10, 10, right? So I hope this is clear. So locations here as 10, 10 and 40, 40 are unique. So 10, 10 here, in this case I'm speaking of this one, 10, 10 and 40, 40 are unique. So latitude and longitude I'm speaking of. Location 10, 10 and here in this case 40, 40. These are unique, right? Location 10, 10 and 40, 40 are unique. So PID equals 1, this one I'm speaking of, and PID equals 4. These two things, right? PID equals 1 and PID equals 4 qualify for the second condition. So this one 1 and 4 qualifies for the second condition, right? Second condition, what is the second condition? They shouldn't be present in the same place, right? So they shouldn't be located in the same city as any other policy holder, right? So that's what the question states here. So these are unique or these are different, right? So this satisfies the second condition here in this case, right? So locations 10, 10 and 40, 40 are unique. So PID 1 and 4 qualify for the second condition. Here in this case, what we will do, this one is having 5. When we sum up, we get here 5 plus 40. So when we sum up, we get 5 plus 40. In this case, the output will be 45. So we have to round off to 2 decimal places they have asked. So this will be 45.00 in this case, right? So that's what the output that we got here. So that's what they have got, the same output here. TIB 2016 they have the column name is 2016, sorry, in the output, and the output that we got here is 45.00. So we have to round off to 2 decimal places that they have asked strictly in the question. So this is 45.00. That's what we got here. So I hope this is completely clear, right? So in the explanation, they have given the same thing what I had explained till now. So first record in the table, like the last record, meets both of the two criteria. The TIB 2015 value 10 is same as the third and fourth records, and its location is unique. The second record does not meet any two criteria. Its TIB 2015 is not like any other policy holders, and its location is same as the third record. You can clearly see here the third record right here. That is the reason we are not considering the second one here. So we went with 1 and 4 because they are unique right here. In this case, you can clearly see. So this second one is having 2020. So this doesn't hold anything. So this is completely, so 20 we do not have the duplicates for 20, right? So here in this case, in the table, in the column TIB 2015, so we are not considering this one. We are not considering third one as well. Why? This doesn't hold the second condition because we already have the latitude and longitude 20 and 20 for the second one. So that is the reason we are not considering this one for the 20 and 20 again, right? So the place should be unique. They should not be located in the same city. So in this case, only 1 and 4. So only 1 and 4 meet the criteria. So we considered this one 10, 10, 20 and 40, right? So that's what they have given. The second record does not meet any of the criteria. Its TIB 2015 is not like any other placeholders, and its location is same as the third record, which makes the third record fail too, right? So same thing here, 2020 here, 2020, 2020. So this does here this fails too, which makes the third record fails too. That's what they have given. So the result is the sum of TIB 2016 of the first and last record. So the sum of here, this one, when I say sum, we have to return this one. Latitude and longitude are unique. 10 and 10, 10 and 10 and 40 and 40. These are unique. So this one we are considering. Here TIB 2016 we are considering, not TIB 2015. So when I say 2016, so 1 and 4 with the PID 1 and 4 we are considering this one and this one. So here this one TIB 2016, TIB 2016. So 5 plus 40. So I have already shown this one, 5 plus 40. So again, when we sum up this one, we will get the value 45 in this case. So when we sum up this one, again I'm telling, we will get the value 45 in this case. So we have to round off to 2 decimal places they have asked in the question. So this will be 45.00. So this is how we got the solution 45.00. So that's what they have written in the, or shown in the output table, TIB 2016 column, right? So this is how we got the solution. So I hope the question is completely clear. What we need to do is completely clear as well. This is easy to understand, right? Let's discuss the approach and then write the query. So let's discuss the approach step by step here. The first step we are going with here is this one, find duplicate TIB 2015 values. First we need to find the duplicate TIB 2015 values, right? That's what we did first while we considered example 1. That's what we did, right? Here we will be making use of the group by keyword. So we will be making use of the group by keyword and having count keyword here. So we have to count. So you would have already guessed that we'll be making use of the count keyword that is provided by SQL. So we will be making use of group by and having count of star greater than 1. Why we are making use of greater than 1 here? So we have to select TIB 201 values that appear more than once. They have strictly asked this one in the question. In the table TIB, in the example, we have considered TIV 2015. Basically, the value was 10, 20, 10, 10, I think. So second value I forgot. Let's consider 20. Anything that is different from 10. So that is the reason we considered PID. This one was 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So that is the reason we considered 1, 3, and 4 in this case, right? So that is the reason we considered 1, 3, and 4, right? So that is the reason we considered 1, 3, and 4. So here we'll be making use of group by and having count of star greater than 1. Why? Because we have to select 2015 TIV underscore 2015, this one column I'm speaking of, values that appears more than once. I hope this is clear. Let's move on with the this one. Second step here, fixed unique locations. So when I say fixed unique locations, we will be making use of group by keyword here. Use group by. Why we are making use of group by here? Also we are making use of count, having count of star equals 1. We have already discussed this one in the previous step as well here, right? So the same thing here, we'll be grouping by and we'll be making use of having count of star equals 1. So in the previously we were going with having count of star greater than 1, because in the table the value TIV 2015, the value should be present more than once, and the only value that was present more than once was 10 with the PID. So with the PID here 1, 3, and 4, you can clearly see this one I was speaking of. So we made use of the use group by and having count of star equals 1. We are making use of, sorry, now to select the latitude and longitude pairs that are unique, right? So in our example we considered 10, 10 for the PID 1, and for the PID 4 we had 40, 40 latitude and longitude. For the PID 2 we ignored. PID 2 we already ignored. So ignored why? Because the value was not duplicated, or we didn't had the value more than once in the TIV underscore 2015 column, right? So in when 3 also we didn't consider. Why? Because we had the value 20, 20. I'm speaking of the latitude and longitude in this case. So latitude and longitude was same as this one, 2. So 2 was having the latitude and longitude 20, 20 itself. So we ignored this one. Why? Because in the question they have asked us to the person shouldn't be located in the same city, right? So that is the reason we ignored this one, third one. So 1 and 4 are having 10, 10 and 40, 40 latitude and longitude, where they share the different locations, right? So that is the reason we are considering 1 and 4 here, right? So that's what here we will be making use of group by and having count of star equals 1 to select the latitude and longitude pairs that are unique. So let's come to the final step here, filter and sum. We have to filter and sum it finally, right? So we will select the records that meet both the conditions, and we will compute the sum of TIV 2016, that is rounded to 2 decimal places. So that is rounded to 2 decimal places. So they have strictly asked in the question that we have to round off to the 2 decimal places. We will select the records that meet both the conditions, and we will compute the sum of TIV 2016, that is rounded to 2 decimal places. So that is rounded to 2 decimal places. So this is what we need to do at the end. We have discussed this one by considering the example 1, right? If you remember. So if you remember, we went with 5 plus 40. 5 TIV 2016, this one, the value of they have given in TIV underscore 2016 column. So basically PID with 1 had the value this one 5, and PID with the value 4 had the value 40. So total when we sum up this one, we got the output 45, and we have to round off to 2 decimal places, so we considered 45.00. So that's what. So this is the approach that we will be going with. So I hope the approach is completely clear, right? As we are familiar with the approach, now it will be easier to write the query. Now let's start writing the query. So now let's start writing the query here. The first step, if you remember, we have to find the TIV 2015 values that appear more than once, 10, 10, 10 in this case. So right, we have to consider or find TIV2015 values that appear more than once. So initially what I'll do, I'll just go with the select keyword here. So we have to round off to 2 decimal places. They have asked in the question. So what I'll do, I'll just make use of round here. Sum of TIV2016. This is fine. We have to round off to 2 decimal places. This will be 2. I'll just mention this one as 2 as TIV2016. This is fine. This is basically coming from insurance table. So I'll just come here. Let me copy events here. This is fine. I'm pasting it over here. This is coming from insurance table. So where this one. So this is the condition, the first step. So where TIV2015 here in this case in. So why we are making use of it? Again, I'm telling the first step we discussed in the approach. We have to find the TIV2015 values that appear more than once. So let's try to implement or articulate the same thing in the form of query here. So I'll just go with here, select TIV_2015 in this case. This is coming from basically insurance table. So let me copy this one and paste it over here. This is coming from the insurance table. So we already discussed that we will be grouping by, just give me a second here. Yeah, we will group by TIV2015, the value that has appeared more than once in the TIV2015 column, right? So having count of star that is greater than 1. We have already discussed this one in the approach, right? So having keyword, I'll just make use of count. I'll just make use of that is provided by SQL itself. Count of star that is greater than 1. So in this case, in the example we have already discussed this one. You can clearly see TIV10 is the value that is repeated more than once, right? So that is the reason. So we need to count that is repeated more than once, the value that is present more than once in that particular column. So having count of star greater than 1. This is fine. This is the first step. Next, let's move on with the second step now. So I'll just make use of AND here. So we have to consider this one as well, right? So the second step, if you remember, we have to find the unique locations, right? So the policy holder should not be they shouldn't be located in the same city. So that's what the question said. If you that's what the question said, if you remember, right? So in this case, we have to find the unique locations. Nothing but they have mentioned latitude and longitude in the table. So this one I'm speaking of. So in this case, again, so we are considering only this one, 1 and 4. So we are ignoring this one because 2 and 3 latitude and longitude we have the same locations here. So we are ignoring the third one as well. So that's what we have to implement the same thing in the form of query, or we have to articulate the same thing in the form of query. So I'll just go with here latitude comma longitude here in this case. So I'll just give in, I'll just make use of the in keyword that is provided by SQL here in this case. So let's find the unique location, nothing but latitude and longitude. For that, let's implement the same thing in the form of query. So I'll just give here select latitude comma longitude. This is coming from what table? Which table? Basically insurance table. So let me copy and paste the same thing over here. So we have already discussed this one. We will be grouping by latitude and longitude. We have to group by latitude and longitude itself, right? So I'll just give here group by lat long. So that's what they have mentioned the column name here. This one I'm considering, right? This is fine. So the final step here is, so at this one count should be exactly equal to 1, right? So this one, the count should be exactly equal to 1. This is repeated in this case, right? That is the reason we are ignoring. So we can just write in this way, having count of star equals 1. So in this case, having count of star equals 1, if we write, we will get 1 and 4 with the values 5 and 40, right? So here in this case, having count, so let me go with count of star, this one equals 1, right? Having count of star equals 1. So for sum we have already written here this one, the third line, select round of sum TIV2016, 2. We are rounding off to 2 decimal places as 2016. After this step, this will take place 5 plus 40, that will be 45. That's what TIV2016 and 45.00. So this is it for the query. So let me leave, just give me a second here. This is fine. Let me hit the run button. I hope this works. Let's see. What happened here? Yeah, you can clearly see here. Yeah, the sample test case is getting passed. Let me hit the submit button quickly. I hope this works for all the test cases. Let's see. So yeah, you can clearly see here all the test cases are getting passed. Means the query works absolutely correct on this case, right? I hope whatever the query that we have written is completely clear as well. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.